How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers. Gratitude to anyone new. We're just one day away now from the best fight in boxing. I think many of us think that this is the best fight. Certainly stylistically, what's on the line, undisputed. You know, these two juggernauts from totally different styles. Just a beautiful matchup for boxing and just for just the sport and for the fans and for what's at stake for their legacy as well. Just a remarkable fight. So I did a fight breakdown a few days ago. I'll leave the link up here if you missed that. It's got more details and more footage and more clips and videos and more of a thorough breakdown. This is just the keys to victory in no particular order. There's not necessarily two or three. I'm just going to ramble a bit about what I think each fighter should do in order to, you know, help them get victory. There's no guarantee. And even if you do these things, you know, each fighter really has to, especially Bivol, has to fight a perfect fight for me. Beterbiev certainly has his work cut out in order to get to one of the best defensive fighters, if not the best defensive fighter, I think. But we'll start with Bivol and actually Beterbiev too, because Bivol has to absolutely fight the most disciplined fight, but get the hell away from those ropes. The minute he languishes, if he does, I don't think he will. I think he's going to understand and realize that Beterbiev's, you know, masterful ability to tear down a high guard and just maul you when you're standing still. They have to be on red alert for that, and that would require Bivol to just be constantly moving, constantly on his footwork game, jabbing, but just do not at any point in the fight languish on the ropes or even be on the ropes, because, you know, if he does, Beterbiev will be moving in to get as much damage as he possibly can, because tearing up a high guard, obviously there's holes in it. He's got such a diverse attack with his beautiful hooks down here, uppercuts through the middle, chopping, mauling shots onto the head. And, you know, because he's so physically strong, you know, people typically will try to either come in and clinch him or hold him, and he'll just fight them off and keep battering them again. I don't see Bivol doing that, but he did it a little bit against Canelo, where he just stayed there and covered up and shelled up. Can't do that against Beterbiev. And that's another thing for Beterbiev. If there is a moment for him to do that, and he always does this in fights anyway, is just to use that, capitalize that moment, and understand there probably won't be that many of them, and get the, you know, as much damage done as he possibly can. Which, you know, that will be an intriguing part of the fight, particularly later on if Bivol does get a little bit gassed, or, you know, he doesn't tend to gas like that. But if at some point, if it is a lot, it's going to be a lot for him to keep this monster at bay, or even you know, he's going to get touched at some point. It's just how much damage are those shots going to do from Beterbiev, because he doesn't need to hit you very hard. You know, it just needs to be one shot can turn the fight around. I covered that in the video. We all know this, Beterbiev's power and strength and physicality and ability to maul and just shoot, actually counter punches as well. Very skilled. We all know this, but it's his ability to just land shots too, even in exchanges. And I think that could be a big thing for Bivol to be careful of, is, you know, because Bivol likes to reel off several punches. But the thing is with Bivol, what he does so well, and there's a video that I'll pull the clip up, is a name for it in Russian.
Boxing style, in Russian it's called челнок.
Where it's part of the Soviet style, where he's punching and moving out. Working on this documentary. I was supposed to get it out before the fight. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. I've been away for like 10 days, so I was going to do it then. I will do it after the fight, but it is focusing on his training methods and, you know, the ability to just punch while going backwards, basically. And it's just such a beautiful thing, and that's going to be his get out of jail card, if you will. I'll show you this clip against Joe Smith where he reels off a 1-2, and as he's coming out, Joe Smith then tries to counter him, and he catches him with a little hook.
Anybody stand out to you specifically?
I think Beterbiev, his performance in his last fight was just impressive. He got up from the canvas, he showed courage, devastating puncher as well. I think the light heavyweight division is just dominated by Eastern European.
Doesn't have to do a lot of damage, you know, it's just enough to just either just touch him or just maneuver him a little bit, just to keep something at bay, and while he moves his feet again. And he's conditioned that to do it, and he's going to have to definitely do that, not get over greedy with the combos if Because even if he's reeling off those combos and Beterbiev shoots something in between those combinations and lands something on Bivol whilst he's coming in that rare moment that Bivol actually like is hittable, because punching with him might be a good key to victory with Beterbiev if he is able to, just because he just has to land something, not even flush for it to really hurt. But Beterbiev, another key for victory for me would be for his ability. He does it quite well anyway to disguise shots, right? He's a very sneaky, smart fighter on top of being an absolute savage. He's very clever and he can counter punch. He's got good boxing skills. We know this. He's obviously getting older now, and the footwork, and he's got these injuries and stuff, and Bivol's got injuries. So there are a few mysteries about this fight, but disguising punches, and like when he level changes like that, or he'll pump fake and then he'll pump fake like that and come up top. So just to get that, just to break the concentration of a fighter is very needed against a very elite defensive fighter like Bivol. And Beterbiev does this, and he does it well, but I think he's going to have to really do it well and stick to it, because he might not have some success early on. I picture Bivol coming out, having some early success and being not dominant, but with that speed and movement and his flashy jabs. I can see Bivol definitely taking the lead, but obviously it's a 12-round fight. He's got to do that. He's got to walk that tightrope for 12 rounds, basically. But Beterbiev, if he's struggling to get in there, he's going to have to get a bit creative and use those pump fakes, use those level changes, and keep believing him. And look, he always does. He never gives up, and he's always patient with it too. He's very patient with his attacks. He knows he's got this fighter in the ring for 12 rounds and he gets to work. But I think the disguising of the punches for Beterbiev is going to have to be it will be very important. Punching Bivol, if he's getting completely outgunned, just punch with him, as hard as that probably is. Just like the ability that he's going to probably do more damage, and that's like an opportunity for him. If he just sits there and he's getting outmaneuvered and out punched and out jabbed, it's not going to be easy for him. Another thing for Bivol, and I've talked about this in the breakdown, it's a little it's a little controversial in the sense that it's one of his better abilities is his lead hand. All right, he'll use it to kind of pour and control and manipulate the guard and use different jabs, and he's still aware, but sometimes fighters let him do that, and I don't think he can do that against Beterbiev, because you're still a little too close for comfort, and if you get that wrong, it could be disastrous. So I think the lead hand trickery from Bivol, I would be very careful about when he uses that. I think he's just maneuvering it, keeping it simple, straight punches, jabbing and moving it, and not try and toy with your opponent so much, even though it can be advantageous. I think he should keep a bit more distance from Beterbiev personally. So it sounds counterproductive because he is so good at using that lead hand and it is a major weapon, but his jab and his speed and his footwork, use those more. That's what I would say. Another key to victory for Beterbiev, obviously, look, his tenacity. He's gonna managing the fight. I was gonna say, he's a little older, and he's going to have to manage this fight. And what I mean by that is, he's got to fight a good, patient, perfect fight in the sense that he can't come out too quickly. He doesn't anyway. But with a 12-round fight against somebody like Bivol, and he's 39 years old, he's going to have to manage it in terms of rounds. How much energy you're going to put into each round, because if they're both hanging in there in the last 3 or 4 rounds and it's quite even, and Bivol's looking like he's got a lot of energy, I can see him keep doing that. And Beterbiev might just, that's what I'm trying to say. Make sure you haven't burnt out too much, and make sure you save a little bit too, managing the fight. Crazy fight. It's so good. Let me know if you have any other keys to victory. This isn't a detailed victory. This isn't a detailed video like I do normally with all the footage. I'm running out of time. I've got to go to work. I just came in yesterday after being away, so I just wanted to give my thoughts and excitement on this fight and share my keys to victory, which I just did. So I'm sure that you guys have others. I'd love to hear from them. And once again, what an amazing fight. I will do a full breakdown and probably a detailed analysis as well on Sunday night, maybe Monday. but I'll certainly go into a lot of depth, and we'll cover everything that I spoke about and everything that happened in the fight. And I can't wait for it, man, to be honest. It's just an incredible fight, and the undercard as well. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'll do separate breakdowns for, you know, the Jack Massey or the Jalbataev Jack Massey fight as well, and maybe one or two others if they're good fights. But that's it from me. Thanks again for watching. Peace and love. I'm out of here.
Boxing.
On it is.